Hello and welcome. You're here with Brothers Forge Gaming. This is Dungeon Rushers on the PlayStation 4. This is available as a download. I believe this started out as a Steam game. I'm not 100% on that. It did, if it's recently been ported to PS4, I'm not sure. I just recently picked it up on sale in the PlayStation Store. Always cool to find stuff there. We're gonna write out. Okay, so this is, I called this a not so platinum trophy guide. Right out the gate, we're just gonna get into it. Whether this game is completely bugged or maybe I was one of the few people to experience the bug going for the trophy. This guy, if you are wanting to get this game to play it solely for the platinum trophy guide, you may not be able to get it. It is a known issue. There's not a lot of information, which is strange to think, you know, in the modern era of information overload, that there is not a lot of information on this game, or maybe I just can't find it. I am not very good at looking up stuff like that, but the stuff I did find was inconclusive, but did say that it is a known issue and the developers are working on it. I couldn't really tell on the message boards whether that was several years ago, so this could be a real non-starter for you if you are looking solely for that platinum trophy. It if you're looking for a fun game to play, a really cool like dungeon dive done differently, it just reminds you, of like a first-person dungeon crawl in a way, something like that, but it's set up a little bit differently, more like a tactical RPG dungeon crawl. So it's pretty cool. Interesting character models. There's some neat abilities. There's the loot, the loot grind, loop reward system. There are some talent trees, and you know what? We're gonna go into all of that. We're gonna go over these trophies. We're going to show you how to get as close to the platinum as you can get, and also, a really fun game, and break it down for you. Like I mentioned, it is an RPG, so there is some depth to this game. If you're unfamiliar with this style of game, there will probably be a pretty steep learning curve. We're not going to go all the way into it, but I'm going to break down a little bit, show you the talent trees and give you my opinion on how to kind of start out your party and adapt it as you go through. But real quick, so it is a 0.3% trophy platinum ratio. Now, whether that 0.3% is an error or some people actually do have this platinum, my working theory, and this is based solely on, I've experienced this in other games, where if you do trophies out of order, it glitches. So basically what happens, there's a trophy for getting all of your characters to level 10. It's called level max, okay? And then there's also one for, beating the game. So now I don't know if you have to get all your characters to level 10 before you beat the game in order to get the trophy to proc properly. And then there's also another one, which is heroism at his best, which is beat every dungeon on heroic. Now, you wouldn't be able to beat every dungeon on heroic before you beat the game, so that one might be out. But if you are going for this, guys, try to level all your characters to level 10 before you face the final dungeon, and it does tell you which one is the final dungeon, and I'll show you that later. That's my working theory. Other than that, it's just completely 100% bugged. Okay, so if you're playing this, don't freak out. It is bugged. Now, most of the trophies you're gonna get from playing the game, a lot of them are, for beating a certain boss, for using a certain ability enough times in a dungeon, that kind of thing. Very straightforward. Now, there is another one. It's gambling 30 times. This is easy to get, not tough, but there's also one called Rich Toilet Cleaner, and that one is, you have to, I think it says, what does it say? It says gather 10,000 gold, something like that. But the way it says gather, it makes you think, okay, all I have to do is acquire 10,000 gold over my missions. That's not the case. You need to hold 10,000 gold at one time. So that one was kind of confusing. So this kind of goes hand in hand with the other one, the gambling. Make sure to acquire 10,000 gold really before you start spending money that you don't have to. The gambling is fun, but it's not really necessary unless you're out that one material that you really need and you're trying for that. But it is really easy to burn through cash that way. So if you are going for the Rich Toilet Cleaner, maybe hang on to your money. What I did was save most of my excess items and things like that, and held off gambling until I could okay, I've got enough spare items to sell to get to 10,000. Now you can go crazy. One thing though, and I'll talk about this a little later, as you're clearing the missions, the shop only refreshes each time you beat a level. So basically, we'll go over that. You want to be visiting the shop and buying the materials every time you can. So that does kind of slow down the process. And then there is another trophy for gotta catch. It's called Gotta Catch Them All. It's unlock 10 characters. And this is another spot where, okay, we don't know. I couldn't definitively find how many characters there are, so maybe that's possibly why the trophy is glitched. Because that's part of the level max, which is get every character to level 10. So if there are more than 10 characters in this game, possibly that's why that trophy isn't working yet. Maybe they're patching in another character. Once you beat the game, there's this endless tower that is also glitched. So possibly that is something content moving forward. I don't know. Like I said, I can find zero information on this game. So anybody out there who knows anything about this game, heck, if you know the developers or anybody involved, get some feelers out there, get some information. Let us know in the comments if you know anything about this, because it is very frustrating to get to near completion of this game and realizing that the trophy's bugged. If I had to reset this game and do it all over, I'm not going to. It's very grindy, and we're going to get into all of that. So that'll about cover it, guys. If you're looking for some trophy information, those are the hardest ones. Most of them, like I said, are easy enough. You're going to get them while you're playing through the game, and most of them are very self-explanatory. It's straightforward. However, the game is glitched when it comes to the platinum trophies. There are some other glitches going throughout the game too. You may notice nothing major. You can actually attack phantoms if you're clicking the buttons fast enough. When an enemy dies, you can click on the like disappearing corpse and attack it before it actually disappears and really screw yourself up. So watch that. There's some other minor glitches when you're in the level, just the level like tweaking out, and then there's a glitch in the shop, and we're gonna go over that. So we're gonna get into campaign first. We'll just take a look at this field because it's straightforward. So here's where you can pull your characters from the bench to the field. Now you cannot do that in dungeons, so make sure you gotta, this is an RPG. It's about party development, building your right party. So make sure to have the right guys in the right place. Ultimately, if you can see my build here, that's the team I'm using in end game. Elviri is like a cleric kind of healer. Odessia is like a shield using warrior that has some pretty cool abilities. Elian is the main character. He's kind of like an archer. And then you got Trash Karag, your orc shaman, and Pod is your minstrel bard. Nobody likes bards. It's funny, in this game they trash him all the time. So there is some humor in this game that's fun. You've got Rose is your herbalist. You got Melinda's a vampire. Frank, very creative here. Just added a C to Frank. Anyway, he's your druid. Amenhotep, he's cool, man. He's got some really neat AoE kind of spells, and he utilizes mana. His mana is his life force. So when you have a mage like that, it's dangerous, because if you have a way to kind of loop your life, which his spells do reoccur as life, so when you have a mage that doesn't need mana to cast spells, it's very, very, very dangerous. And there is a way to abuse that, although he's not very helpful in the level you get him in, because he's, it seems like the level you get these characters in, they're not very useful, because the enemies you're fighting are like immune and strong to their abilities. And then you've got your trusty dwarf accountant, Thorgrim. I call him Gort. Basically anybody is Gort to me. Shining Force reference. But yeah, so that's a real quick look at that. From this screen, you can also go to the shop, the workshop. We'll take a look at the settings. Real simple. You got okay. So you've got these different languages if you're interested in that. So what was that, about 7 to 10 languages there. Audio. I do enjoy when you can adjust the audio, especially for streaming purposes. And then there is a, you can do a full reset. We're not going to click on that one. Oh, hey, what's up, man? Just working on this platinum trophy guide right here, or lack thereof. This game is bugged, so I did put a lot of time into this one. I wanted to introduce a really fun game, but also help people out trying to get the trophies. And maybe if enough people play this game and reach out to the developers, hey, you need to fix this, maybe they will. So if you like dungeon crawls, man, this is a fun game. Let's see. So, oh yeah, okay. So I'm gonna go to the team. Now this here, I have most of the items. I did randomly sell some of the crap, but as you can see here, the UI on this is kind of junk too because it gets in your way. And then there isn't that you can't like. The only way to look at your weapon is to do compare. You can't like swap it and see the different stats, so it can kind of get in the way. That's not a good example, but sometimes the interface goes over itself, which can be, you know, I can't find a good example of it, but if you play it, you'll see it. So like I said, there's a few of these bugs in here. Real quick, as you're playing through the game, and so part of the game is maxing, or not maxing, but getting every character to level 10. You do get this different gear. So this is XP gear. Basically each zone you beat, you're gonna find some XP gear. You find a lot of these boots more. I only found one of the things here, and then there is this helmet here, and then there's a okay, yeah, so I don't know if there's other items that I didn't find. Part of the dwarf skill is he has a ability to get your drop rate up 30%, so that is one of the skills I do recommend using, especially because you're going to use Thorgrim mostly through the game, and then rock and roll with him. That way you're getting your mats to build stuff. Again, we're going to cover that. So that, that's just a quick look at the items. Here's kind of a good example of what I'm talking about. So there's no way to kind of scroll down there, and this is always blocking the the text, which is somewhat irritating, and I can't figure out how to turn that off. Just several things like that, but you know what? They don't overwhelm the game. They don't. They're easy to kind of get around. It is just an irritant that you wish they maybe didn't program it that way. But again, okay, so we're gonna get into the talents. Let me get to a character which you're gonna use. Pod is a very important character, as much as you hate to have to use a bard. As you can see, you kind of have 3 different talent trees here. So one would be the Chainsawner, the Valiant Defender, and then the Persecutor. Anyway, I don't know if those really describe his talent tree, but basically you can go like heals, or each character has an in-dungeon ability as well, where you can, reveal traps or that kind of thing throughout the dungeon. And Pod actually has a really cool ability. Let's see if it's on here. Yeah, you can't read it, but Spiritual Ballad. So when you're not in a fight in the dungeon, you can use that ability to restore the team's mana, and that's very important. Is it as important as putting points into this? Maybe, but you can, unless you're going for heroic dungeons and stuff like that, you can't use potions in heroic dungeons, and then certain levels, and we'll go into that, require, like they say, there's 3 criteria to unlocking the heroic dungeon. So to even try it, you got to first beat the level with that criteria, and a lot of them are don't use a potion. So it could get tricky, but in dungeons that aren't like that, you've got stamina potions, mana potions, stuff. You don't really need to worry about it. So this is really important only if you're going to try to unlock those heroic dungeons. If not, you're going to be able to get through these levels pretty easily, whichever way you do your builds. But basically, I went with the build that not only he debuffs, so it buffs and then removes a negative ability. That's huge. And then also with that same spell, you can do 14% healing. And you don't have healing early. Basically, you have to use the vampire. What's her name? Oh, she's not on there. What's her name again? You have to use Melinda. She has a talent that you can use. It's a spell that allows you to heal the front line, and basically that's what you're going to have to use for your healing until you can get enough points. And then also, you do get, these are relatively, you see them a lot and you can make them. You can respec. So a lot of time what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to do a build that works for now. And then as you get more talent points unlocked, you can go back and redo your builds accordingly. And this chick's actually super powerful. She has some really cool like passive abilities, and then you can juice up her magic javelin to hit 3 people. So that's 3 hits. She has some very good evasion as far as casting spells that allow you to have increased parry. Again, though, you're not going to probably use this character till later in the game. Same with these. So these are almost like in-game characters. I believe this is the 4th character you get. So the game is kind of tough in the beginning because you only have the 3 characters and you're facing mobs of 4 plus, and you have no real way to heal or do AoE a lot. Another thing here as well when you're using Elian, I don't know what I said first. Anyhow, when you're using him, you're gonna probably want to start out using him as a, what is this, the swordsman, because you're early, you're not gonna have a lot of mana and or ways to regenerate it, and like I said, if you're trying to do those, unlock the heroics, you're gonna not be able to use potions, so it's really hard to rely on his shot. Although once you get enough points, being able to put points into this category is what you want to do, because he actually gets, where is it? Oh yeah, so you get multiple shots. So you're gonna hit 2 people, 1 random, 1 that you get to select, and that's very, very important, especially because the mages like to hide in the back. You know how those mages clothies are. Oh hey, thanks. Thanks man, that's always fun getting ready for work. Not really, but yeah, I was hopefully wanting to get this in. And I did. So here we go. Again, so just some different talents and things that you're going to want to use. These give you a sort of a description of what you're doing, and again, that's kind of, there's a lack of information in this game, but it's there if you look for it. And then on some of these other characters, Rose, you can actually heal with her as well, so you probably want to put points into that. She kind of has a like an AoE infect side subclass, but realistically she's going to be your healer till you get Elviri here. Franck I wanted to be cool because he's a druid that shapeshifts and does fun things like that. I found him very underpowered. And then like I said, I would probably have Onhumtep in here instead of Trash Krog, or Pod, or I don't know, I'd interchange them if I wanted more AoE, but there's a lot of infect spells, so Pod's ability to cleanse is crucial in the late stages. Again, we'll go to the shop just real quick. So again, it shows you your inventory here, and as you can see, the market, it only refreshes each level you beat. So realistically, you're going to want to go to the shop after each level and check, because that's where you're going to get a lot of your materials and different things there. And then here's where you go to gamble. So like I said, hang on to your money until you have that 10,000 mark. That's going to be very helpful. That way you can unlock that trophy without having to do too much grinding. Essentially in this game I had to do no extra grinding except going back and doing the heroic dungeons. And then as you're progressing, I'll show you, as you're progressing through the game, you'll get to certain points where you need to kind of degress to progress, so you have to go back, and that's a good time to clean up the spots you might have missed as far as heroics, or you know, maybe you didn't beat the level with the criteria, so go back and clean those up. Or even if you're looking to kind of farm some resources, go back to the levels. And then there's other levels that are just clearing floors, so we'll get into that as well. But then, okay, I won't be able to show you the glitch in the shop, basically. So as you can see, if there were more items in here, there are 2 rows. And if you get to the point where there's 1 item on the bottom row, it glitches. It makes you buy multiple things. So what you want to do, if you don't want to randomly buy stuff, you need to make sure to clear from the back up, from the top row. So maybe I'll try to beat a level here and show you that in better detail. The workshop is another fun function where you can craft and build different weapons. There are not like a lot of drops in this game. Every now and then the item shop will randomly get stuff, but you can't really rely on that if you're looking to progress the game. It almost seems after you have crafted something good or even found something good is when the shop will start to carry it. So you can't get lucky that way though, and then gambling is another way to get those items if you don't feel like crafting. Once you got to level 4, I put to level 5, it didn't give me any more items, so I don't know if that's something to come in the game. If they're adding more to this game later down the road, which would be pretty cool. But you have to think they are, because I'll show you these different, where are they? anyway, those are just a look at. That's pretty much all the items you get to craft. The mats are hard to come by for the like items you actually want to make. So that part, if you are trying to make certain items, that might require a little extra grinding there. I thought it was. Is it on here? Okay, so here is where you think that they're gonna start adding more to the game, because these are like weapon plus, so you have to have the weapon to begin with, and then whatever those scripts are, and I think you get those from facing the labyrinth at the end of the game that isn't working yet. Okay, so that's, you know, that's a quick look at that. Let's get into the game. Yeah, as you can see here, Bronze League rank number 10. I don't know what that is, so that could be something they're adding to the game as well. Okay, so yeah, the never-ending tower. We'll just take a look at that real quick. As you can see there, it's kind of bugged. It doesn't work. You can't show rankings. I can't access any of this stuff. So hopefully if they are adding to this game and they do something with that, they will fix the platinum trophy glitch as well. I'm not sure if those are all connected or not. Here is the final level. So, as I mentioned at the beginning of this, if you are trying to go for the platinum, the only thing I can think that might be able, the reason it didn't, you know, that it glitched out for me was that I beat the game before I went and maxed all my characters to level 10. I don't know. That's a long shot, but if you're going for this, maybe try that before you face the last level. Maybe you'll get lucky and you'll be one of the 0.3% of people who actually get to have the platinum trophy in this game. So yeah, as you can see, there are a lot of levels, and the gold flag, so basically once you can see the 3 gems, that signifies when you beat the game with, as you can see, the bonus challenge. All monsters slain, max 3 abilities used, and all events inspected. And then once you do that, you can unlock the heroic mode and then beat it, and that's symbolized with the gold flag, so that's how you know that you have beaten those. And then throughout the game as well, scattered in the different areas, you get these mansions that you can go through. If you want to grind, this might be an easier way to do it, although heroic gives you more experience, more loot, but it does take maybe a little bit longer and is a little bit harder. If you just need to grind some quick XP, some quick loot, this is a good way to go. There are no restrictions. You can just mash the level using all the abilities and potions you want. There was a point in the game where I had to actually go back and just face easier levels so that I could access the shop to get potions each time. That was a little frustrating, but I think a lot of that had to do with the build I made in the beginning. I wasn't really sure which builds to do, so it was costing me in the long run, because I was just kind of playing, putting my points in the wrong things, and I didn't have those reset potions yet. So do be careful. You know, like I said, build the archer with the swordsman build. Gort, sorry, with Thormgrim go. Kind of, he's more like your tank, and then build up your bard as your protecting healer. And I think you'll do a little bit better than I did in the beginning, trying to go ranger. And I actually, in Thormgrim, I put in points into something strange, his account inability, stuff that's not very helpful. So that was costing me early. Again, there are more of these towers as you go through the game. I was clearing all the floors, but realistically, you don't. There's one trophy for clearing all the floors, but you only have to do it on one of the mansions, so you don't have to do it on all of them. Like I said, if you need to go back and grind up some XP, that's a way to do it. But when I got to, I think this one, I just kind of stopped at floor 1. But there is some loot and treasure, things like that, which you can get as well. We're just gonna go do a quick, ideally, I thought I was hopefully going to be able to show you guys this never-ending tower thing over here, and I was going to do a level on that. Now it won't even go over there. Oh, okay. So yeah, I was going to do a level on this and kind of do that, but instead, we'll just do a super quick level, the first level. Now, there is also an entertaining story that you get to see as you progress through the game. A little bit of comedy in there. Here's an example of using your skills. So basically, this one is very helpful when you're on the long grindy dungeons, restoring mana to your team, not having to use potions, because a lot of time you can't. And right here, as you can see, I'm only allowed to use 3 abilities if I want to progress this level and unlock the heroic mode. This one's pretty cool. We're going to use Pathfinder. This is a very helpful ability. Show you where you're going, help you through the dungeons. Detect Trap is another good one. So there are no traps in this one. I guess that was a bad dungeon to show. I like this ability because it kind of, you know, gives you all that excess area. Now you can put points into beefing that up, but I don't recommend it. Bait's a fun one to use. There's actually a trophy for that, using bait 25 times. So a lot of the trophies are using these abilities that I'm using now and showing you. So Detect Traps, there's the bait one, the Explorer one, which is using the Pathfinder ability, and there's a couple others like that. Very simple to use, just pay attention to those. We'll do one fight here because just show you what the battling looks like. This isn't a fancy battle by any means. Real straightforward skeleton. So as you can see, you've got these different abilities here to do. So you can use any of those abilities. I never used Poison Blade. It was either regular attack or arrow. Kind of a useless ability, but most of the enemies are immune to it, or it doesn't proc very often. You can defend or use potions or swap. I recommend doing switch in the manage, so you don't have to waste a turn doing it, but sometimes maybe if your one guy is under attack, you could switch him to the back where he's a little bit more protected. So we'll use bait. Let's get by that guy. Nothing fancy here. Like I said, keep it straightforward. Pile of bones. And just like that, you're through the dungeon. I didn't meet the heroic requirements. However, I've already beaten it on heroic. And now you can access the shop again. And I did want to show you this. So, ooh, magic sand. But see, as right there, and that's not my controller bugging out. That's a glitch in the game. So if I didn't want that to happen again and randomly have to buy some of this armor that I don't need to buy, you want to pull from that corner, or say I needed this potion and that, you know, you buy that. You just buy ahead so you clear out this row. Something the way they programmed this, if it has to pull up on the row, it makes you buy whatever item that is. At first I thought it was completely bugged, but I did find a workaround that way with that. So yeah, that's pretty much everything with the game. As I mentioned, this is a fun game. If you're not trying to sit here and get a platinum, it is fun, and you know, you will find going back and leveling your characters, you're going to need to do the heroic dungeons anyway to get that extra XP. So it just kind of works out. But yeah, that's a look at the map, all the different levels. I don't know, what would you say? There's 100 levels or something, maybe more, if you count the duplicate, you know, running heroic. Or even just not. I don't know. That's a lot of levels. So fun game. Takes you from the, you know, the bar, the sewers, the basement of the bar, through the Goblin Valley, into the marsh kind of thing, mighty forest. And then ultimately you end up in the Egyptian lands, the tombs and treasures of ancient kings forgotten. Yeah, and I mean, I don't know. I don't know if you guys want to see like a stronger battle. Yeah, we'll do that. We'll just go to this one real quick. Why not? If you guys have any questions, any comments, anything like that, let me know. Put them in the comments. I'll answer your questions as best I can. So here's an example of a trap. You want to be making sure to have people in your party that can handle those. They're very troublesome late in the dungeon if you don't have people to, you know, detect them, to disarm them. And as you can see this icon here, this battle, there's going to be a sandstorm, which you can see here. And then if you have a dot on you, it hurts you. Here we can use this ability. I could try to put them to sleep, or I could use her ability here, which is going to hurt them if it procs properly. Okay, so here's an example of a little bit tougher of a battle. These guys can summon that guy I targeted there, can resurrect his fallen enemy, so you basically want to target him first, or he's just going to keep respawning, and then the axe-wielding gentleman in the back, they can summon a sarcophagus that if you don't kill it in time will spawn a random creature. So, you know, this is kind of why I did this build, because those guys are fast. I could have used her ability. I don't need to heal, so I could either attack, or we can use this ability, which is pretty cool. I wish I had more points to put into this. Increasing the damage and duration. And see, there's an example there of that. Basically, the main thing you're going to use on this guy is Protecting Song. He cleanses, buffs, heals. I mean, it's a really good ability to have. It does kind of suck having to use him in your party because you want to kind of mash through the game. He does slow you down. It's like, but you are going to need him. Like I said, a lot of the levels don't let you use potions. They don't let you use things like that are going to... You're going to need to be able to cleanse and restore your mana through these longer dungeons. And then, as you can see, this is a much larger map than that last one. So there is a lot of time you have to go and find keys and switches and things and go back. And it can get confusing. Even when you are using a lot of your abilities, it's very easy to run into the... run back the wrong way or accidentally step on one of these traps, even if you know it's there. So do pay attention. When I was grinding this out, I was just playing these later levels one after the other, and I was having to redo them a lot because I wasn't paying attention, and you know, I was like trying to master the dungeon. And you know, I'm standing in front of the exit, and I sit there, and I'm like, oh, I want to see what's over there, and I use the ability, and it's like, don't use an ability on that level, and then you do it right before the end dungeon. And it's very frustrating. Oh, I don't know why I used that one because I'm already out there, but I wanted to use this one again. Alright, so that's that, and then anytime you can back out of the dungeon, I believe it resets the progress as to before you even started it, so you don't get XP, you don't get items, you don't get any of that. So you do need to finish the dungeons in order to claim your rewards. But again, you can do that. I believe I was suspending the application, like putting it to sleep and doing different things like that without saving mid-dungeon, and it does bring you back to that. So if you have to go, if you have to put it down for however long, just do rest mode. Don't close the program. Rest mode, and it should load back up for you if you're mid-progression, and because there is no way to really like save or back out of the dungeon without losing all your progress. So that is a way to do that there. Yeah, but as far as it goes, this is a really fun game. A lot of replayability as far as trying to unlock the heroic dungeons and play through those, getting the trophies, the different teams you can build. It's a lot of little things that you can do with this game that are very fun. Well worth it. I want to say it was $2.99 as a download on sale, so whether they were just trying to blow this game out last minute, they don't have any plans of fixing the glitches, I don't know. But if you do see this game, if you do come across this game and you like dungeon crawls, if you like to grind your way to victory, Dungeon Rushers is a very fun game. Like I said, if you could get on sale, it's well worth it. It's a bummer about the Platinum Trophy. I really hope they fix that. It would make this a much better experience for those of us who like to hunt trophies. It's a very approachable game. It's not difficult if you are going for the Platinum, which you can't get, but if you are, it's not difficult. It's just very time-consuming. So yeah, I hope this was informative, helpful. Maybe you found a game that you want to play. Like I said, if you know anything about the issue, the known issues or not so known issues of the glitches that I've been talking about in this video, do let us know in the comments. I want to say thanks for tuning in. You've been hanging out with Brothers Forge Gaming. Look forward to more Platinum Trophy guides down the road. If you want, check us out. We're on YouTube. Check out our videos. We got different playlists. Done about 14 Platinum Trophy guides. If you guys are looking for more fun games to get Platinums on, check our playlists, check our backlogs. Alright guys, we'll see you on the next run.